Hello, everybody. I'm Renato. I'm 20 years old and I'm Brazilian, as you can hear by my accent. And I'm currently living in the Netherlands. I live here for 1 year. So basically, I decided to make this video after coming back from Greece. I've been there for 10 days and I went there for a meeting about stuttering. So the name of the meeting is Stutter Live, and it was made in partnership with the Youth Exchange. So basically, people from different European countries, from Finland, Estonia, Spain, Greece, North Macedonia, and the Netherlands, and Serbia also. They we met it, we met in Thessaloniki, which is the second biggest city in Greece, and then in the beginning, I thought there were going to be people there, only people who stutter. But then, as soon as I arrived, I saw, okay, so not only people who stutter, also people who don't stutter. And in the beginning, I didn't quite like it. But then, in the course of the event, I saw that it was actually good, and we could have very interesting discussions. And it was also the goal of the program that is put in touch people who stutter with people who don't stutter. So it was really inspiring and really really interesting to be in touch with people who stutter in real life, because sometimes I go for online meetings, online events like Social Stutter, or when I came to the Netherlands, I try to be in touch with people who stutter. So they have the so-called Stutter Cafe. In Dutch, stutter means stutter. Both are similar languages. They are the so-called Germanic languages, English and Dutch. So, um, yes, but because of the curfew, most of the activities were online. The coronavirus regulations. So unfortunately, I couldn't really meet people in real life. And actually, I've never been to a real life event for people who stutter. And being there in Greece, so they texted me and said, "Oh, Renato, do you want to go to Greece? There's gonna be this event. It's gonna be subsidized. We're gonna finance our trip." And I said, "Yes, for sure, I want to go." And then it was amazing because being with people who started in real life, in real life dynamics, in group, because whenever people are talking in big groups or 6, 7 people, it's different. It's not like in Zoom where you can click raise your hand, or there everything has a different pace and a different dynamics, and I really enjoyed it very much, and also the conversations we had. So I'd like to talk. So I decided to make this video because I just came from Greece, and it's still things are fresh in my mind. And yeah, so it was, for example, this guy it's called Nick, and he's from here from the Netherlands. He's a journalist. He has this person who is a very investigative spirit, uh, always making questions, and talking, very curious about the the regional politics of that country, or the life experience that this person had. And because I'm also a bit like this, I also like to be making questions all the time, and like to know more about this person, about that culture. So we're very often together and inquiring a person. And then something that really was interesting for me is how his speeches goes, because my speech has mostly mumblings, so like or so these elongation of the phoneme, and also blockages or silence moments. So my speech is intertwined with silence moments, and for me it can be sometimes a little bit. I'm not so comfortable with it because sometimes some people may interrupt it or may try to fill in the perceived void. Uh, I wouldn't say that silence is something that should be, or is the silence is a void, because I think it also means something, but or it should be respected, right? I once read the role of silence in other cultures, like the Finnish culture or the Japanese culture, where people can respect or had a different understanding on silence and silence moments, anthropologically, right? But some people maybe in the West, they, of course, many cultures, but they try to fill this void, and sometimes can be unrespectful. And this guy, he had a very quick speech, quick pace, so with little repetition sometimes, so little repetition, but he managed to keep going. And he has a very, let's say, sharp and sharp speech. Sometimes he was even a bit interruptive. Huh? And that's nice because we, as a person who stutter, or sometimes myself, let's talk about myself, I don't see myself in this role. And it was really inspiring to see how he was so unique in the way of his speech, and so beautiful to hear someone with such a speech, with stuttering, repetition, but still straight going and still assertive. Really interesting. I like it very much. And once, one day we were on the beach and it was me, he, and other guys with stutter. And then he said he never changed the words he wanted to say. He always said what he wanted to say. And I think it's very, yeah, because there were moments in my life where I also were more like this. I was also more not changing the words. In the short term, I end up stuttering more because I was stuttering. I was doing that what I was avoiding, trying to avoid to do. But you see, but that's better because when you are changing words, when you are too afraid of words, you may have as a side effect the mumblies, the blockages. And I'm not saying that all blockages and all mumblings, let's say, is a result of this. Please not. But I'm saying that it may be a side effect and it may create an anxiety cycle. And his speech didn't have this anxiety feeling. Was very no, very fluent, very stuttering fluently. And then it was for me really, really, really like, let's say, a model somehow. And then another guy that I really enjoyed was Pablo. He's Spanish, and he was no the clown of the group. Whenever he was in big groups, he was making jokes and talking loudly, and so this kind of person, a very artistic, and a very artistic insights on everything. So very interesting person, um, and he also managed to be in a protagonist position, and he had many blockages and he had many silence moments, but still they didn't prevent him from having such a proeminence in the group. I'm not saying that everybody should, or the stutter should pursue this role because I think it's natural from him, but still was interesting to see a person who is stuttering having uh, this proeminence. So also inspiring in this sense. Um, what else? You see, everybody there had like a strong personality, and you could see, wow, these people, you can be whoever you want to be. Stutter shouldn't be a problem for this. And there was this guy also, the organizer himself. He was a person who stuttered, so he was Greek. Also, as I understood, he grew up in Germany, and he had a very good oratorics, so he could speak in a very confident manner, and you could see that he has many experience doing this, and he speaks in a very elegant way, and he stutters. So sometimes it's barely remarkable, but then sometimes he has some disruption of stuttering, and then let's say not disruption, but appearance. It appears, and then he stutters even with secondary stuttering, like symptoms like blinking, but still beautiful and very looks very authentic, very unique. And I think that's the message from this group. Like everybody can be unique and can embrace your own stuttering, and despite of the stuttering, like you can be original. And I think that's what we miss sometimes, because sometimes we can maybe so focused on trying to have a speech, a mainstream speech, that we miss the chance to be ourselves, to be authentic and speaking the way you really are. So I think this is the most important thing. And also Luke was a Dutch guy, and also Wesley, also Dutch. We had many good talks, many, like we could grow a lot by the things we exchanged. Sorry, yeah, I used too much my hands. Uh, yeah, so I really like it. I really appreciate it, and that's it. And I really hope to be back to be in touch with these people again. And yeah, like there's a saying that says that the truth is not inside us, but it is between us. It's by talking, it's by sharing we can grow something new. And I think, yeah, that's why one of the reason I share this video, because I think that by sharing you can also give your feedback, and please, if you have something you can write, and we can grow together. We can maybe arrive to a different point. And especially for people who stutter, this is very important because usually we are isolated in the sense that we don't meet everyday people who stutter. So it's good to be in touch, it's good to be in contact, I believe. And finally, yeah, so I think that's the main message. I don't want this video to be too long. Uh, if you have any also remark about my English, I know there's many mistakes. You can just write. I'm very humble in this respect, and just do it in a nice way. Um, yeah, and then so. But I think you could get the message, which is I think is the most important thing. Um yeah. So I really had an amazing time in Greece. I hope to meet more people who stutter in a very authentic way. Sometimes, very often, we see in the stutter community overly negative, perspective, and I think it's important to have good examples, good, like you can be yourself. You don't need to be cured or have an idealized way of fluent speech to be able to be yourself, because we only have one life, and if we cannot miss time to be ourselves. We cannot miss time to be authentic, because the day is today, the day is not tomorrow. So if we have to be able to be ourselves now, and embracing stuttering as a unique trait of our personalities. So yeah, I think that's the most important thing. And I think even paradoxically, stutter goes lower because no, you are more yourself. You stutter more fluently, let's say, and then it is not even remarkable, or if it is, doesn't matter, because it's so beautiful to see when someone is stuttering fluently, is being in touch with their inner self. And I think that's part of our mission, and that's something that stuttering can teach us as well. Never forget to be ourselves. So that's my message. I'm going to stop here because I'm already here for 12 minutes, and yeah, that's it. And so feel free to comment something in a nice way, of course, and that's it. So